You know, when we study the Torah, it's the life lesson that we're really looking for. In this week's Torah portion, in the book of Numbers, chapter 11, we read very disturbing incidents about the rabble, the riffraff that was in the midst of the children of Israel, that were crying to Moses about the diet, the boring diet of the manna, and remembering what they ate in Egypt for free and requesting meat. And they influenced the children of Israel too to cry, "Who would feed us meat here in the deserts?" And we read in verse 5 how we remember the fish which we ate in Egypt for free. The cucumbers, the watermelon, the leeks, the garlic. And now we are sick of our diet. There's nothing for us to eat but this manna. And of course we know that the manna was a great gift, tremendous spiritual energy, food from the table of the Almighty, as it were, Himself. But what's amazing about this verse is they say, we remember the free food that they gave us in Egypt, the fish and the beautiful vegetables. They had such wonderful watermelons and garlic and onion in Egypt. What have we done by leaving Egypt and coming into the desert where we have nothing to eat but this manna? We have no meat, and we remember we had such great free food. So the classic commentator Rashi on this verse tells us, do you really think that they had free food? Do you remember that we read back in Exodus how Pharaoh didn't even give them straw anymore, but yet expected them to come up with the same tally of bricks? So if the Egyptians did not provide the Jewish slaves with building materials and straw, do you really think that they gave them free food? So Rashi tells us it's actually a play on words that the verse is employing when they said, we remembered the fish that we ate for free and all the vegetables we ate in Egypt. Rashi says, don't read it as that the food was free, but that we were free. In Egypt, we were free of the commandments. We did not have the yoke of heaven. We were not obligated in the commandments of God. And that's the secret underpinning, the message of the complaints, the background of what it was that they were really complaining about, this riffraff, the mixed multitude that was in the presence of Israel and unfortunately had a very detrimental influence on the children of Israel. Now, in this great generation, the generation of the desert, the generation that received the Torah and accepted upon themselves the yoke of heaven, the generation that walked with God, with the tabernacle in their midst, who chose of their own volition, who accepted upon themselves the mission of being the chosen, the nation of God, to bring the light of the divine presence into the world. Well, that's a very heavy trip. It's a very serious obligation. And it's a covenant. And they remembered, well, in Egypt, we were free men. We did not have any responsibilities. And we were basically able to engage in the society that was the hallmark of Egypt, society of instant self-gratification. We had no responsibilities. We remember that freedom, the freedom from the commandments, because to truly be a servant of God and to truly be connected to divine purpose and to truly accept our missions, we realize that, as we say in the chapters of the Fathers, who is truly a free person? One who is a servant of God. And what they really remembered about the freedom of Egypt was that they were free, each man, to follow the folly of his own heart. And now the challenge was to eat the manna, to imbibe the essence of godliness in this world, and to realize we are not free to follow our own hearts, but when we subscribe to our relationship with God, when we accept upon ourselves the yoke of heaven, and when we realize that our task is to do His commandments and thus bring the divine light into the world, then we won't just have to remember the free food that we ate in Egypt, but we'll be truly free.